Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is Sheila. In today's video I'm going to be showing you how to make a very simple crochet halter top using the Tunisian crochet stitch. This is the stitch that I taught in my previous video, so if you haven't yet watched it, I'll be dropping a link in the description box so that you go check it out in order to learn a beginner friendly version of the Tunisian stitch. And for this project I'm going to be using a 3-ply chunky yarn. It's 100% acrylic, and I'm going to be using a 6mm crochet hook. Yes, crochet hook, not Tunisian crochet hook. This is because I don't have access to this particular size. I have only the smaller version, so I had to work with this. So you also need a pair of scissors, and the color I'm going to be using is color gray, and this project is going to be teaching you how to increase using the Tunisian crochet stitch, and it's really like beginner friendly. I'll try my best to go slow so that you can achieve the same exact look as mine. So let's get started. So you're going to grab your yarn. So I'm going to make a chain of 23, and if you're a size this is for a size medium, so if you're a size large you may consider 25. If you're a size XL you may consider 27, around there, because this is totally going to determine the width of your top. So you don't want this to be so small, especially if you have a broad upper side. So this is for size medium, and I've done a total of 23 chains. And for Tunisian crochet, this is the very first stitch. For normal crochet, we don't count this as a stitch. So we're going to go into the second chain from the hook. So not this one, but this one. So go into that stitch, pull up a loop, go into the next stitch, pull up a loop, and continue to do this all the way across. So I'm coming to the end, and I've pulled up a loop in my very last chain, and this is what I have. Should have a chunk of stitches here, and the number of loops on this hook should be the same number of chains that you did at the beginning. So we're going to do a return pass. You're going to yarn over, pull through 1, and then for all the rest we are going to be yarning over and pulling through 2. So yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, all the way to the beginning of our row. And for this particular stitch, this counts as row 1. We don't count the one that goes to the other side as a row. So a row is only complete when we've done both parts. We've gone and then returned. So this is the end of our row 1, and now we are going to start increasing. Since we are doing a halter top, we want to increase our top to the sides, and the way to do this, you're going to yarn over. If you're not increasing, remember, you just go into this loop. But now that we are increasing, we are going to be increasing at the beginning and at the end of every row. So yarn over, insert your hook in this loop, this top loop. There are these loops that are lying around the top of the stitch. So insert your hook, pull through, yarn over, pull through. So we have 3 loops on our hook right now. Then go ahead and insert your hook and yarn over, pull through in each and every loop. So these are our stitches for this particular project. You're going to go into each and every stitch, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through. And now that I started with a total of 23 chains, for this row you should have a total of 25 loops on your hook. So I've placed my hook in the second last loop, and then I'm going to yarn over right before the very last stitch, turn my work to the side. So this is my very last stitch, and I'll go into it, yarn over, pull through. So you should have a total of 25 because we are increasing by 2 stitches every row. So yarn over, pull through 1, and for all the rest we are going to be yarning over and pulling through 2. So that's how we increase with this stitch. I'm going to show you one more time. So your stitches will keep increasing as we go along, as long as you yarn over at the beginning and at the end of every row. So we are done with row 2. This is how it looks like, and we are going to row 3. You're going to yarn over, and for Tunisian crochet this is the very first stitch, so we don't go into this loop here. We start with the second one here. So yarn over. Our yarn over created a loop here at this point. Make sure you don't skip it. So yarn over, insert your hook in that loop. That created another stitch actually. So you go into that loop and then go into all the loops across. Like that. And you're going to make sure that all your stitches remain on the hook. Since we are not using a Tunisian crochet hook which is long, make sure you control the way that your stitches slide off the hook, because we don't want to lose them. So this is the second last loop, and we are going to yarn over and go into the very last loop. So you turn it to the side and you're going to go through both loops, this one here and this one. So insert your hook in both loops, you can see that. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 1, and then for all the rest we are going to be yarning over and pulling through 2. So we are going to repeat this particular stitch for a number of rows, and we shall be seeing an increase in our halter top. We shall be seeing a slanting effect on our halter top on both sides, because we are increasing both at the beginning and at the end. So all I want to say is never forget to yarn over at the beginning, and never forget to go through that loop that you create with the yarn over. There's always that loop that's created here. Never forget to go into it. And also at the end, when you come to the end, after placing your hook through this second last stitch, because this is the very last one, so after your second last, make sure you never forget to yarn over and then go into the very last stitch. That is the effect that's created after yarning over. That means we have increased. So you'll notice that your work will start to go like this, and I'm going to go ahead and do some more rows using this stitch, increasing until a certain point that I'll be letting you know, and then I'll show you what to do from there. Okay, so I went ahead to do a total of 24 rows, and you can see my work has built up to make this shape of the halter top. This is how our top is going to look like. This is the top part, and then it goes on widening at the base. So I'm going to be showing you row 25, and I show you the exact feel of what it's like to have so many stitches on my hook, since it's not very long. but you have to work with what you have and make sure that stitches don't slide off the hook. So this is row 25. So we're going to yarn over because we are still increasing. I'm going to increase until row 25. So this will be my final row of increase. So yarn over, insert your hook in this loop, yarn over, pull through, and then continue to insert your hook in each and every loop, each and every stitch, just like we did at the beginning of our top. And this is just the normal way of making the Tunisian crochet stitch. And the stitches keep getting more and more on the hook, but you have to control the way you hold your hook. Make sure these two fingers are always at the end so that they stop these stitches from going off the hook. So that's what I usually do. So let me continue to go into each and every stitch. So you can see we haven't even gotten halfway of the top, but we already have this chunk of stitches. And you have to make sure all your stitches fit on the hook. So you're going to keep increasing your stitches until you get the width of the top that you want. So for me, this was enough. This is the width of the top that I want. It can do for me a full coverage, so this is where I want to stop. So you can see this. So if you see that the stitches are very many and you don't have any place to work your remaining stitches, you can go ahead and slide your stitches a bit. You try to push your hook through so that you get more space for the remaining stitches. Okay, so we are almost coming to the end. I'm doing my second last stitch, and before the last stitch you're going to yarn over. Don't forget that, because we are still increasing, and then go into the 2 loops at the end. That is your last stitch, and this is what I have. You can see the top is here, but all the stitches are fitting on this crochet hook. So now we are going to do the return pass. So yarn over, pull through 1, and then yarn over, pull through 2 until the end of your row. Yarn over, pull through 2. So make sure you don't drop any stitches. Just try to be as careful as you can so that you don't drop any stitches. So as you work, you try to push your work forward, because now you're creating space at the front of the hook. We are getting more and more space at the front of the hook, so you can as well push your stitches a bit forward so that they don't strain the back of the hook. So you can see the many stitches that I had on my hook, and we tried our best to keep them on the hook without dropping them. So we've done our return pass all the way across, and this is how our work looks like. You can see it's very neat. The packing of the stitches here like this doesn't affect the way the final product looks like. That's why I told you that you can use your crochet hook if you can't access a Tunisian crochet hook. But I know that in the future I may be able to access the Tunisian crochet hooks. So my top measures about 20 to 22, around 22 inches when stretched, and that's quite enough for me for my halter top. If you want yours to be a bit wider than this, you can go on with the increases, but for me this is enough for my halter top. And now I'm going to start working stitches when I'm not increasing. We are going to stop yarning over when we are starting our rows. So from row 26, you just go into this this is the very first stitch, so we don't work anything in here. You just go into the second stitch and pull up a loop and continue to go all the way across. And when it comes to the end, still we are not going to be yarning over. We shall just go straight into the last stitch without the yarn over, and then our top will start going straight down. So eliminate the yarn overs at the beginning and at the end, and keep working as many rows as you need your top to be, and you get the desired length for your top. So I'm going to go ahead and do some of those rows, and I'll be showing you how my top turns out after a few rows of doing that. So we're coming to the end of the row. Okay, so this is my second last stitch, and what we've been doing is yarning over and then we go to the last stitch, but this time around we are not going to yarn over because we are not increasing. So directly go into the last stitch, go into those two loops at the bottom, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through one, and then yarn over, pull through two up to the end of your row. So from here you can notice there's already a change in direction. We are no longer going like this. The work has started moving straight, so that's what we want, and we are going to go ahead and do several rows of these until we achieve the length of the halter top that we need. So let me go ahead and do some more rows that look like row 26. So repeat row 26 until you get your desired length for your halter top. So this is how our work looks like after a total of 5 rows of no increases. You can notice that your top stopped moving like this to this side and then is now moving vertically. And from here onwards, you're going to do as many rows as you want your top to be. The length of your top will be determined by the number of rows that you do. So right now I'm at row 30. And I believe I'm going to do some more rows. I'll be letting you know how many, but I may go up to around row 35, and then I'll show you what to do from there. So it took me about 34 rows to get the length that I wanted. I wanted to do 35, but 34 was perfectly fine. So right now I'm on row 34 and it's finished. And now I'm going to do the bind off stitch. You can notice that we have very big loops at the base. We want to close them up. And for those who watched my previous tutorial, you know how to bind off by now. So for those who don't know, we are going to go into this stitch like as if we are going to work the normal stitches, yarn over, pull through all, like that. So it's like we are slip stitching into each and every stitch. Go to the next stitch, pull through all, insert your hook in the next stitch, yarn over, pull through all. So that's all we're going to do. You can see we are closing up the gaps, and where we haven't yet done the slip stitches, the gaps are still big. So you're going to go all the way across, inserting your hook in the next stitch and pulling through both loops. So that's all for row 35. This is my very final row at the base, because I want to keep this top as simple as it can be without any designs, because this was complicated enough. So this is what it will create. It will close up these gaps that we had got at the base of the top. So let me go all the way across and I'll meet you guys at this end of the top. So I've made it all the way across and you can see the gaps have closed up. So after this, you're going to go into the very last stitch with your slip stitch, like that, and that marks the end of this 35th row. And now we are going to be going all the way around the top, doing a simple single crochet stitch, and at the top here we shall go back to the slip stitches. I'm going to be showing you how, and at the same time we are going to be creating loops where the straps of the top are going to go. So we want our very first strap, our very first loop, to be at this corner. We want loops at this corner, this corner. If you want, you can put one in the middle here. I can put one, and then also here and here. Or if you want one in the middle, you can put one. So we're going to start off by making a chain of 10. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then slip stitching into that very row, like that. So if you find this so big, you can always reduce the number of chains that you do at this point. Then go into the next row with a single crochet in the next row, single crochet in the next row, until you reach the next corner. So I told you, if your top is longer than mine, then you may consider putting a loop in the middle part of this straight stitch, this straight part of the top. You may consider placing a loop here, but since my top is short, I'm not going to be placing a loop there. Sorry for the noise. Okay, so I'm moving into this corner and I've reached that point where I started, where I stopped the increases. So I'm going to chain up 10. And after my chain of 10, I'm going to go into that very stitch and make a slip stitch. So slip stitch there. And right now we've created 2 loops on the side. And we're going to go into each and every stitch on this side. You can see this. We've created a loop here and a loop here. And now we are going to go into each and every stitch along this side. You can see we have stitches here, so you're going to go into each and every one of them with 1 single crochet. So 1 single crochet in each and every stitch on the side until you get to the top of your halter top. Okay, so I'm going into my very last stitch before I work on the top of the halter top, and this is what I have right now on the side. And now we're going onto the top part of the halter top, and we are going to go into these stitches again. So just go into that stitch and make a slip stitch. Go into the next here, make a slip stitch, just like we did at the bottom of the halter top. That's exactly what we are going to be doing. So we're going all the way across the top of the halter top. And when you're done with your stitches here, this is what it should look like. And now we're going to go down this side. And we are going to go there with single crochets. So you're going to chain up 1 and then go into each and every stitch with a single crochet. So single crochet in each and every stitch all the way down to that point where you stopped increasing your stitches, and that will be the corner part where we want to place our loop, our next loop. Okay, go all the way down to that point where I stopped the increases. And we've reached that point. Let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 9. It was at this point where we stopped increasing. And now we are going to create a loop. So chain up 10 and slip stitch in that very stitch like that, and go into each and every stitch after that with a single crochet. So if you created a loop in the middle of the 2 loops on the edges, that means you have to create it also on this side, but I didn't, so I don't have to worry about that. So I'm in my very last stitch here, and I'm going to chain up 10 and I'll slip stitch in that very space like that, and then I'll go into that very first stitch that we made here and I'll do my slip stitch there, and I'll chain up 1 and cut my yarn. And now I want to show you what we have. We have these 2 loops, and then we also have these 2 loops on this side. And now we have to create a strap that's supposed to go into these loops. So we're going to create straps, at this point, and at this point, we're going to create 2 straps. And the way I want to do that is just by making a very simple chain of around 300 chains. So I'm going to go into the corner of my work here, and I'm going to attach my yarn and then single crochet in that same space where I've attached, just to make it more firm and strong. And I'm going to just make chains. So I'm going to make around 200 to 300 chains on both sides, so here and here. So go ahead and make your chains. I'll be letting you know how many chains that I did, and then I'll be letting you know how to strap up your top. So I did a total of 200 chains on each side. This is how my work looks like at the front, and this is how it looks like at the back. And now we're going to get these straps and get the one on this side, and lace it through the opposite side, which is this side, like this. And then get the one on this side and lace it through the opposite loop, like that. So it will create an X at the back, like that. And then we bring them back to the opposite sides. So since I only have 2 loops, this will be the last round that I'm lacing it up. And this is how our top will look like at the back. And after this, you can tie up this the way you want. And since the straps are quite long, you can play around with them. You can take them back to the front of the top. And yeah, this is basically it. This is the simple halter top using the Tunisian crochet stitch. I hope you guys liked it. Make sure you give it a thumbs up if you do, and make sure to subscribe to my channel for more amazing videos concerning this stitch and every other crochet project. So thanks guys for watching. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.